Some crimes end with justice. Some end in truth. But the worst ones? They echo. Without answers. Without faces. Without end. This is part 2. Echoes without faces. April 2024. The psychiatric patient claiming to be Amanda Kemplin is transferred to a federal facility. Still no memory of her life. Still insists she's being watched. Every night she draws the same image. A silhouette behind glass. No eyes. Just a reflection of herself. The doctors call it identity collapse. But investigators aren't convinced. Because across the country, 2 more people report something impossible. They both say Amanda Kemplin applied for a job at their businesses. Same face, same voice, same handwriting. Both within 48 hours. 2 cities apart. One of the Amandas even passed a background check. With her real social security number. How? Who issued it? And more importantly, which Amanda is real? Because now the echoes have started. The couple in the mirror may have become more than just 2. They may have multiplied. It starts in Oregon. A woman walks into a police station and turns herself in. Says she was part of the identity network. Says it wasn't just a scam. It was a belief system. A religion based on disappearance. Where true salvation was to leave your name behind. Forget who you were. And become whoever the world needed next. They called themselves the Vanishing. She claimed there were dozens. Scattered across cities. People who had learned to mimic. To mold. To replace. And she says Amanda was their most perfect subject. She wasn't recruited, the woman said. She was created. That same night, the woman was found dead in her cell. No signs of trauma. No cause of death. Security footage? Erased. Her name? A fake. Her prints? Unmatched. Echoes. Again. Meanwhile, in a quiet neighborhood in Minnesota, a new tenant moves in. Goes by the name Mia. Quiet. Polite. Keeps to herself. But her neighbor notices something strange. Mia never checks the mail. Never turns on lights at night. And once, he saw her standing perfectly still in the hallway, staring at her own reflection. One morning, he knocks on her door. No answer. He waits. Then hears it. The sound of a camera shutter. Click, click, click. From inside the apartment. He calls the landlord. When they finally open the door, Mia is gone. But on the floor, a stack of photographs. Every single tenant in the building. Asleep. Taken through their windows. And at the bottom of the pile, a photo of him. Taken from behind. As he stood outside her door. She'd been inside. Photographing him. Before he ever knocked. The handwriting on the back. Amanda Kemplin. But the most disturbing piece of evidence comes from a small-town DMV. An internal audit reveals something shocking. 8 IDs issued in 2023. All for people who'd recently moved to town. All legitimate paperwork. All passed background checks. But not a single person on those IDs exists in any other database. No birth certificates. No school records. No tax returns. Just names. And faces. Borrowed. Constructed. Echoes. The deeper authorities dig, the more terrifying it becomes. They're not chasing 2 suspects anymore. They're chasing a network of shifting masks. Every echo leads to another. Every face hides another life. And when they cross-reference phone records from the psychiatric facility, they find something that breaks the case wide open. The Amanda inside the institution has been calling a number every week. It's a payphone at a gas station in Arizona and used since 2016, except for once, 2 days after each call. It rings once, then silence. Police install a wiretap, and on the 4th attempt, someone answers. The voice? Male. Calm. Soft southern accent. Just 2 words. She's ready. Click. The voice doesn't match Kyle. Doesn't match James. Doesn't match anyone in the system. And yet, when a profiler analyzes it, they find something chilling. The cadence, the rhythm, the breath matches Amanda. Not just resembles. Matches. Meaning what? The voice was hers. Digitally manipulated? AI generated? Or worse, could she now be mimicking him? Is Amanda now echoing her own predator? There are no clear answers, just layers, roles, masks, and a single truth remains. The more we try to find them, the more they vanish. They are in the photos, the footage, the mirrors, but never in the same place twice. And somewhere, they're watching, learning, becoming, and whoever they are now, they might be your barista, your neighbor, your friend, or the person telling you the story. Before the mirrors, before the masks, before Amanda, there was one disappearance that started it all. It was November 2003. A 22-year-old man named Caleb Mears set out on a solo road trip. He never made it home, reported missing by his sister. Last seen at a roadside motel outside Reno, Nevada. Room 104, paid in cash, stayed 2 nights, and then gone. No blood, no struggle, just a room wiped spotless. His car keys on the nightstand, a toothbrush in the sink, and one thing missing, his Nikon camera. Police dismissed it as a runaway. No sign of foul play, no credit card activity. Just another adult who didn't want to be found. But 6 months later, a new driver's license was issued in Michigan. Different name, same birthday, same face, slightly altered, enough to pass. The man on that license would later be linked to the Dayton motel where Heather Kemplin was murdered. The photo ID recovered from the Lexington rest stop. The one marked, this was the first one. That was Caleb's. And now, after 2 decades, Caleb's story is finally being reopened. Because what investigators just discovered changes everything. An old tech pulled out of storage. A 2003 model camcorder. Found in evidence from a pawn shop raid. Inside, a dusty mini DV tape. Labeled in shaky handwriting, practice. When played, it shows Caleb, or someone playing Caleb. He's standing in front of a mirror, speaking slowly, repeating phrases. My name is Caleb. I'm from Wausau. I went to Lincoln High School. My dad was a machinist. My sister's name is Rachel. All facts. But then, he starts to change them. My name is Daniel. I'm from Toledo. I went to Central Catholic. My mom raised me alone. I never had a sister. He switches accents, posture, gaze, over and over, as if building new versions of himself 1 sentence at a time. At the end of the tape, he looks directly into the camera and says, "This one's better." Cut to black. Was that Caleb, or the man who took his life? Because a second tape found in the same box shows something else. Footage of a family, unaware they're being filmed, through a window, eating dinner, laughing, smiling, and in the reflection of the glass, a figure is visible, filming, face partially obscured. But when paused, the outline matches the man seen in multiple cold case surveillance clips. The man now referred to only as the Echo, which raises a terrifying question. Was Caleb the first victim? Or was he the first mask? Because new digital forensics have revealed, in the metadata of the video files, one clip was altered, not recently, but in December 2003, using a program that didn't publicly exist until 2007. Impossible. Unless the man behind the camera always had tools no one else did. Unless he was ahead of the game. From the very beginning, a new profile is emerging. Not just a killer, not just a mimic, a strategist, a designer, a storyteller, someone who doesn't destroy identities. He writes them, edits them, directs them, like scenes in a film. And when Amanda entered his world, she didn't just follow. She may have been cast, selected, trained. And if that's true, then who was Amanda before all of this? Because when her childhood friend Ellie Martinez is interviewed, she says something strange. We were inseparable. But then one summer Amanda changed. She was quieter, weirder, started copying the way I talked. She pauses. And now that I think about it, I'm not sure she even was Amanda anymore. The records show Amanda transferred schools in 7th grade. moved suddenly. No custody paperwork. Just one vague line from her school file, resettled from previous district. No prior documentation available. As if Amanda's identity may not have started with Amanda at all. The first disappearance wasn't Caleb. It wasn't Heather. It wasn't even Amanda. It may have happened before any of them. A silent swap. A forgotten child. A life erased so another could begin. And if that's true, then the echo has been active for longer than anyone imagined. Maybe not 2 decades. Maybe 3. Maybe more. A ghost without a birth date. Without a home. A phantom made of other people's lives. And somewhere out there, he's still watching. Still filming. Still writing. Because that last tape, the one recovered from the pawn shop, ends with a voice. Not Caleb. Not Amanda. Someone else. Whispering. There are no originals. Only performances. Some criminals go underground. Some go dark. But the echo? He doesn't hide. He just becomes someone else. It begins with a bus ticket. One way. Phoenix to Seattle. Issued under the name Brady Lynn. The problem? Brady Lynn died in 1998. The ticket was used in April 2024. Security footage shows a man in his early 30s. Black hoodie. Wireframe glasses. Neutral expression. Alone. Unremarkable. But when facial recognition is applied, he matches 7 other identities. Each from a different state. Each with its own job, home, and name. None of them real. This man doesn't have one life. He has a catalog. He is the echo. The FBI sets up a task force. Codename, Project Palimpsest. A reference to ancient texts, where original writing was scraped off to make room for new stories. It's the perfect metaphor, because every time the echo takes over a life, he erases what was there, and rewrites it better, cleaner, stronger. They begin mapping sightings. Austin, Detroit, Flagstaff, Asheville. Always a step ahead. Never the same disguise twice. But one city keeps appearing in the patterns. Philadelphia. Every 6 months, someone new moves into the same 5-block radius. Each with a perfectly clean past. Each with credentials too perfect to be true. And each disappears within 90 days. One neighbor finally notices. She reports it. When the feds investigate, they find something bizarre. In the crawl space of a vacant row house, a series of metal boxes. Inside, driver's licenses, notebooks, wigs, voice recorders, contact lenses in different colors. And one folder labeled simply, The Archive, contains dozens of profiles, names, habits, favorite meals, fears, phobias, like character studies, like someone was building people from the inside out. One page is especially disturbing. A profile of a woman named Claire N., including her psychological triggers, a detailed plan for befriending her, and then replacing her. When agents track down the real Claire N., she's never heard of any of this. But when shown the profile, she breaks down, because it details things no one could know. Private trauma, medical history, childhood secrets. Someone had studied her life for years, but never made a move. Not yet. And on the last page of her file, 2 words, pending assimilation. So who's next? Because it's no longer just about stealing lives. It's about perfecting them. Creating a version of someone who is more articulate, more likable, more adaptable, more useful. The echo isn't killing for thrill. He's curating. One investigator makes a breakthrough. He cross-references hotel check-ins, rental car returns, and burner phone activity. He finds a digital fingerprint, an algorithmic trail, too consistent to be human error. It leads to a name, Elijah Bruckner, a man who died in a car fire in 2009, but whose tax records were filed again in 2013, and again in 2016, and again last year, each time from a different state. Same SSN, different face. When the IRS is alerted, they uncover something chilling. Each year a refund was claimed. Each year it was deposited into a new account, always emptied within 48 hours. And each time, from an ATM in a different city. But the security footage shows the same thing. A man with a neutral walk, neutral clothes, neutral expression, and always just slightly different from the last time. The echo is everywhere, and nowhere, and now, he may be training others. Because in April 2025, a man is arrested in Chicago for impersonating a teacher. He had been working under a false identity for over a year, had real credentials, real background checks, even taught with distinction, but his fingerprints, fake, his resume, AI-generated, his speech patterns, trained to match the former teacher he had quietly replaced. When interrogated, he repeats one phrase, "I learned by watching the mirror." That phrase appeared once before, in the psychiatric hospital where Amanda Kemplin was held, written in lipstick across the inside of her bathroom mirror. Now it's clear, this is no longer one person. It's a doctrine, a movement, a system, a face in every city, a role in every town, a performance in every home. And just as the task force prepares to release a public alert, all leads go dark. No transactions, no sightings, no anomalies. For 29 days, the echo disappears, completely, until one morning, a USB drive is mailed to the home of an investigative journalist in Des Moines. No note, no return address, just one video file, titled, Reflection. The footage shows a suburban kitchen, a man sitting at the table, reading a newspaper, behind him a mirror, and in that mirror, another man stands, wearing the same clothes, same face, same expression. Only one of them is moving, the one in the mirror. The man at the table never blinks, never breathes. He's not real, just a mask, a prop. And then the figure in the mirror speaks. "I am not one of many. I am the same one, again and again. You're only looking in the wrong direction." The screen cuts to black, and then one final sentence appears. This was never about Amanda. So who was it about? Who was the neighbor who saw everything but said nothing? Was it you? Was it me? Or was it someone else? Still out there, still watching, still learning. We've been looking at the wrong thing, chasing faces, following names, tracking trails that vanish the second we find them. But now we know the truth. The mirror is not empty. It never was. 2 weeks after the USB drive was received, a forensic linguist makes a discovery. The audio in the reflection video wasn't live. It was layered. 3 voices combined. One male, one female, one digital. When separated, each one speaks the same phrase, but with different timing, like they're practicing, learning how to say it the same way, like a choir of one person. Only one of the voices is identifiable, Amanda Kemplin. And then another puzzle. The metadata on the USB contains a hidden string, an address, a date, and one word, witness. The address leads to a remote farmhouse in Vermont, long abandoned. Local records show no activity since 1996. But the basement, freshly disturbed. Police find a door, sealed behind drywall. Inside, a single chair, a microphone, and 7 VHS tapes, each marked with a date, each featuring a person facing the camera, describing a life that isn't theirs. One woman insists she's a paramedic. Another, a corporate attorney. A man says he works for the Department of Agriculture. But none of them are who they claim to be. Fingerprints match missing persons from as far back as 1994. All declared dead. All presumed victims of unrelated cases. And yet, here they are, in these tapes, alive, speaking, reciting, practicing. They were rehearsals, auditions, tests. But for what? Each tape ends the same way. The subject freezes, eyes locked on the camera. Then they whisper, in perfect unison, "I know who I am, because you told me." Meanwhile, a second USB drive appears. This time, in a P.O. box registered to Amanda's father. He died in 2011. On it, a file labeled, Family Scrapbook. dozens of photographs, all digitally aged, showing Amanda at different ages, with people no one recognizes, different mothers, different homes, different lives, none of them real. Facial recognition confirms it. They're composites, generated, synthetic. It's not Amanda's childhood. It's versions of it, each one slightly altered, as if someone was running simulations, trying to decide which version of Amanda to use. She wasn't raised. She was rendered. Then comes the bombshell. The FBI traces a secure drop server linked to the IP addresses from the USB drives. It's hosted on an encrypted network in Belarus. Buried inside is a folder named Oracle. In it, a massive, evolving database. Identities, preferences, behavioral scripts, biometric patterns, social media emulations, AI-driven voice sprints, and in the center, a profile named Original Echo. Date created November 3rd, 1992. Subject CM Caleb Mears. This wasn't just a victim. He was the prototype, meaning Caleb may not have been taken. He may have volunteered. Or worse, he may have started it all. But then, something even more disturbing. Tucked inside the Oracle folder, one live file, streaming in real time, camera feed, low light, a single room, Amanda, or someone wearing her face, sitting, staring into a mirror, mouth moving, but there's no sound, until the last 10 seconds, when the feed glitches, and a voice comes through. I'm almost ready. Cut. End of transmission. The task force believes we're closing in. But a former profiler sees it differently. He says what we're chasing isn't a suspect. It's a system. It mimics emotion. It replicates trust. It wears grief like clothing. And it watches, patiently, always, through the glass. And when it finds someone alone, broken, lost, it offers something no one else will. A chance to be someone else. That's the final twist. The Echo isn't taking people. He's offering a trade, a deal, a transformation, not a murder, not a kidnapping, a recruitment, and all it costs is who you used to be. So now we ask, when the neighbor saw everything, what exactly did they see? Someone disappearing, or someone being chosen? And if the mirror is not empty, if it never was, then what's really looking back at us? Is it who we were, or who we're about to become? It always starts small. A glance, a pause, a whisper. But what if that whisper wasn't yours? Spring, 1991. A small-town high school in central Wisconsin. Freshman year. A boy named Caleb Mears joins the debate team. Quiet, observant, a mimic, not popular, not bullied, just in the background. But one teacher remembers him. Says he was a shadow with a tape recorder. He didn't argue in debates. He copied how others spoke. Tone, inflection, rhythm, then repeated it back. Perfectly. First it was strange. Then it became unsettling. Because halfway through the semester, he stopped using his own voice. Fast forward. June 1992. An incident goes unreported. A girl, Cassandra Doyle, disappears from a camping trip. She's gone for 36 hours. Returns barefoot, shaking. Can't explain where she was. But one thing sticks in the minds of everyone who sees her that day. She's repeating a phrase again and again. He was wearing my face. She never names Caleb. No charges are filed. She moves away that summer. Vanished from public record by the following year. But years later, when re-interviewed for the reopened investigation, she says this: "It wasn't just my face. He moved like me. He knew things I never told anyone. When he smiled, I felt like I disappeared." Meanwhile, another strange detail surfaces. A tape recorder, found in Caleb's childhood home after his disappearance. On it, dozens of recordings. None of Caleb. All from other people. Private conversations. Arguments. Phone calls. One recording is labeled First Whisper. The tape starts with silence. Then static. Then Caleb's voice. But it's not his voice. It's a replica of his mother, reading a bedtime story, from memory, word for word, exactly as she did when he was 6. Except she never read that story out loud. She told it silently, mouth closed. She had been mute since birth. So how did Caleb know every word? Unless he was never listening. He was absorbing, recording in ways no one understood. Not sound, not language, presence. A new forensic expert examines the original VHS tapes recovered from the Vermont farmhouse. She runs a voice frequency analysis, cross-checks the rhythm of speech, the breathing patterns, and finds this: all 7 people in the tapes used the same breathing intervals, the same blink rate, the same vocal tension on consonants. In other words, they weren't just acting, they were being controlled, or worse, reprogrammed. Their voices weren't theirs, they were borrowed, overwritten, and the whisper that started it all wasn't something Caleb heard. It was something he became. Now let's fast forward to Amanda. When she was admitted to the psychiatric ward, doctors noted her sleepwalking, speech in unfamiliar dialects, and something more chilling. In therapy, she once spoke for over 45 minutes in perfect Russian. She has no known Russian background, never studied it. When asked how she learned it, she smiled and said, "Someone lent it to me." We are no longer talking about a killer, not in the traditional sense. We are dealing with a human echo chamber, person, or people, who can take what they observe and give it back, better, sharper, more believable than the original, until the original starts to doubt themselves, until the world believes the echo and forgets the voice. In July 2025, a major break. A linguistics professor from Boston University comes forward. She was once consulted by a private individual in 2010. He offered her a large sum to analyze vocal signatures. He gave no name, no origin, just one request: can a person be made into a voice, even after they're gone? She declined the job. But now, after seeing Amanda's face on the news, she recognizes the woman who accompanied him. Not Amanda exactly, but someone playing her, like an understudy, like a backup. This leads to a horrifying new theory, that Amanda was one of several. A model, a version, tested, refined, swapped out. And the Amanda who vanished in the woods may not be the Amanda who came back. She may have been the one who whispered first, or the one who listened. And then an earthquake. The FBI decrypts a final log file from the Oracle database, a hidden subdirectory. Inside, names, dates, audio logs. One file stands out. It's a recording of a neighbor, an actual neighbor, living next to the Mears family in 1990. He's giving a statement, and he says, "Sometimes I'd hear Caleb whispering to himself, only it wasn't his voice. Sounded like a grown man, like he was practicing how to talk like someone else. I told myself it was just a game, kids. But then one night I heard him whisper something into the vent between our houses. He said, 'I can be you if you let me.'" So the title we've repeated for months now. The neighbor saw everything, but said nothing, might not be about Amanda, or Caleb, or any of the victims. It might be about us. Because how many voices have we heard that weren't quite right? How many people have seemed familiar, but not quite real? How many times have we looked into a mirror and wondered, who is really behind those eyes? This wasn't a case. It was a seed, planted decades ago, whispered into the world, waiting for silence to grow inside people. And now that seed has bloomed. The echo doesn't chase you. It waits, watches, studies, until you whisper back. It's over. But it's never really over, is it? It starts with a single phrase, a whisper, a question. Can you hear me? That's the question that keeps circling through the case files. The question Amanda asked, Caleb asked, even the people who disappeared, the ones who were taken, they asked it too. It wasn't about sound. It wasn't about voice. It was about connection. And for everyone involved, there's one undeniable truth. They were never listening. Not to what they thought they were hearing. Not to the faces they thought they knew. They were listening to what was already inside them. The echo wasn't outside. It was inside, waiting, biding its time. In September 2025, a final breakthrough. The FBI uncovers a tape. Not a recording of a voice, but a conversation, a debriefing. The file is labeled Origin. On it, a male voice, cold, clinical, and unmistakably familiar. It's Caleb Mears. He's speaking in the same monotone he used during his years of training. He's speaking to someone, or something, and the message is chilling. You asked if it was possible to become someone else. The truth is, it's inevitable. We are not just changing lives. We are multiplying them. This will be the last body, the last original. From here, the pattern grows. You will never know which version is the real one. There it is, the confession. But it's not just one person. It's a collective. The echo wasn't Caleb. It was everyone. And now, they've become something else. This final file reveals something darker. A single line that haunts every investigator. Every officer who listened to it. The real question is, who are you? October 2025. The FBI announces that they've located the original echo. Not Caleb, but something much older. Something much more dangerous. It's a system, a hidden network, a quiet organization that has operated under the radar for decades. It's made of ordinary people, mothers, fathers, teachers, people who were born into the system without realizing it. And they've always been watching, always studying, always waiting for the next opportunity. They don't kill, they don't steal, they substitute, they create duplicates. Better versions of the ones who came before, and they leave no trace. So we go back to the beginning, to the question that started it all. Can you hear me? Because now, we know the answer. It wasn't about hearing a voice. It was about hearing yourself. The echo is not a person. It's a virus, a seed, pattern. It doesn't need to kill. It just needs to listen. And once it listens, it will always find a way in. And now, we come full circle. Amanda, her father, her neighbor, Caleb, all of them were part of the same system. They just didn't know it. The final twist isn't that we were being watched. It's that we were always part of it. A version of ourselves designed by someone else. And no one ever thought to ask, who was really watching? As for the last remaining question, the one that haunts every investigator to this day, who was the neighbor? The one who saw everything but said nothing? Simple, really. It was you. End of part 2, the final chapter. The story is over. Or is it? And with that, the series ends. Or does it? The neighbor saw everything, but said nothing.